Hello, this is Ken Ferrie with this week's Boots in the Field report. Well, 2022 hand harvest is done. We had 57 people doing the hand shelling. 47 of those were volunteers and they were from all ages. We had a big enough crew to outpass 4 electric shellers, and we had to bring out one of the old hand crank ones to keep up. We weighed, counted, and shelled over 3,000 years. We were done by 2 o'clock. Big thanks to all who participated in our hybrid characteristic plots, from planting to harvesting to volunteering for the harvest day. A thank you to Syngenta for bringing 2 electric shellers and a man to help us out. Big thanks to Katie and her crew for directing the day of the hand harvest, and a big thanks to Jared. The hybrid characteristic plots are his baby from start to finish. He did a fantastic job. Also, a big thank you to Faith Farms out in Iowa, who did 1,500 more years themselves on their farm there in Iowa with family and friend power. That information will be added to our numbers. It'll take weeks for the crew to digest all the numbers, but some of the ranges that we observed, for instance, test weight swung from 52.6 pounds to 64.1. Moisture was in that 11.9 to 21 range. Our girth and numbers swung from as low as 10 to as high as 22. Numbers in length from 16 up to 60. Adding this year's ears to our database will bring our running total up to 2,292 treatments in the database, and over 21,000 ears have been counted, weighed, and shelled. So a lot of data, and I think we're going to be able to build a really nice yearbook out of the data set this year as well. I want to cover some repeating questions that are coming into the office here the past few weeks. Getting questions on crop rotation. Some guys are entertaining beans on beans, and other guys are entertaining corn on corn. This question is driven by several things. Some, it's local markets. Local markets are wanting one crop over the other and doing it in their forward pricing. In some cases, it's driven by a surprising strong corn yields this year compared to some ho-hum bean yields as well. Whatever the reason driving the question, one of the first questions I ask is, what are you expecting in yield with this crop rotation? When we grow the same crop back to back, we have to be realistic on yields. It puts pressure on the system. Numbers we use in growing corn on corn, plugging in a 10 to 15 bushel drop in yield. For soybeans on beans, it's typically 5 to 7. Yeah, I know some years that doesn't happen, but other years it's more than that. Corn on corn in dry years can dip 30 to 40 bushel, like some people experienced this year. If the numbers still fit with realistic yield goals, then my question is, how much experience do you have on a monocrop system? Now, beans on beans is by far easiest when we're moving in that direction. When we're talking corn on corn, that conversation needs to get longer. Growers who have a lot of corn on corn experience, they've learned by the school of hard knocks what works and what doesn't. These growers don't need much coaching, but growers new to the concept need more counseling to keep the learning curve from getting too steep and too expensive. With corn on corn, we must think about the carbon penalty, that tie-up of microbes in soil, of the soil nutrients. This is best accomplished by managing the 4 R's of your fertility, which usually means some fertility banded near the row with the planter or the strip till bar. Managing residue at the furrow, it's got to happen, which involves planter setup. Managing insects like rootworm, which involves hybrid selection and applying planter applied insecticide. Disease pressure intensifies in corn on corn and must be managed with hybrid selection and fungicide applications. Some hybrids just don't tolerate corn on corn stress very well. In our plots this year, comparing two hybrids in corn on corn and corn on beans in our dry August that we had here, one had a 5 bushel hit to corn on corn, the other one had almost a 40 bushel hit to corn on corn. The higher yielding hybrid in the rotated corn was not the higher yielding hybrid in the corn on corn. So what I'm saying is hybrid selection matters. Think about the harvest and the planting. What kind of funnels do you have there now? If you switched all your acres to corn, can you get it planted in a timely fashion? Can you handle that many acres and harvest in a timely fashion? If you plug these factors in and drop the yield to a realistic yield goal and the numbers still make sense for your operation, then my next advice is to do the marketing so the numbers are still there next fall. Sometimes growers are watching the neighbor and they want to duplicate their process. My advice: spend some time learning about the details that your neighbor is following to get his success. I would also recommend finding out what the yield level is for your neighbor. What does your neighbor consider success? His successful yield may not meet your expectations. Taking time to walk through the scenarios with growers, we can sometimes stop a train wreck before it happens, or at least get the grower to step off the tracks before the train runs through. Getting calls about using urea as an end source. From what I understand, due to river and shipping issues, guys are coming across some cheap urea. The questions have been, can we replace some of our spring needs of nitrogen with cheap urea? Well, the answer is yes. Many areas in the United States and countries around the world use mainly urea as their end source. You do need to know the weakness of this product so you can farm around it. Now, soil temperatures are cool enough now to stop nitrification. So yes, we could apply it, especially on those wheat acres. Urea's risk would be volatility, so it would need a urease inhibitor. A urease inhibitor will buy you some time after application to get it moved into the ground for the wheat. Applying to bean stubble for next year's corn gets a little riskier. You still need a urease inhibitor to slow or stop volatility, but applying urea to frozen ground puts you at risk of runoff if we get a rain event. That risk goes down if you have a cover crop growing. If your present plan is weed and feed, where you blend your herbicide with your 28 and 32% and make it one pass, with urea you're most likely going to have to make 2 passes, or get your retailer to impregnate that urea with the herbicide. Many retailers don't want to do this because of fear of contamination at the blender. We go on urea spread complaint calls almost every year. You have to calibrate your spread widths and your spinner speeds to get uniform spread of urea. A truck calibrated for MAP and potash is not calibrated for urea. Poor calibrations leads to waves in the corn later. Urea's first conversion is to ammonium, which the corn plant can use. And the corn plant can use both ammonium and nitrate. Ammonium is like jet fuel to soil microbes. And I've seen in our plots where the carbon tie-up from the microbes will immobilize 150 pounds of urea, especially in our corn on corn. It just disappears from the balance sheet. Now it's just immobilized. It'll mineralize back into the system later, but your corn can experience some N deficiencies waiting for that. Now the same thing happens with your 28 and your 32%, but a fourth of that product is nitrate, which the microbes don't snatch up as fast, and it usually keeps the corn plant happy until this mineralization takes place. Now this temporary slowdown in the corn can be avoided with some planter N. If taking all of these into account in your decision making, I think there is places where this will help cut your N cost. So I'm not against it. Just want everybody to understand there's some extra loops you got to jump through if you're not used to it. Some of you guys out there have been using it for years and you wonder what's the problem. Just we're not quite set up the same here in the central Illinois as some of the northern states are. Got a lot of viewers watching the Beyond the Basics series. It's not too late to sign up for that. Tomorrow we'll be doing the fourth of our 5-part series, and they will stay up for viewing till the end of December. So you can still sign up. You can binge watch them all while you're wrapping Christmas presents. The Crop Tech customers, just email the office or call the girls. They'll get you signed in if you want to sign up. Non-CT customers, just go to our website and click on the Beyond the Basics tab. Don't forget to give us your CCA information if you're watching this, because it will be worth CCA credits as well. But see a lot of guys view, and a lot of guys viewing multiple times, so that helps. You can go back and rewatch it. Don't forget the virtual college is January 5th. Sign up for that the same way. Remember, those of you who attended that live college, you'll be enrolled automatically. You don't need to register. Those of you who couldn't make it this summer and would like to take in the virtual college, again, just go to our website there, get yourself signed up. To stay up to date, check out our website at croptechinc.com and subscribe to our podcast, Boots in the Field Report. Keep her safe, keep her moving.